Hi friends, it's Anne here at Chronically Home and DIY where we're crafting our best life. Today we've got a little sign that we're going to make. It's another Dollar Tree craft. And we're making this cute little joy sign that just used a canvas from Dollar Tree, a little bit of scrapbook paper, and an adorable ornament. So we start with one of the Dollar Tree canvases. This one was 5 by 7 sized, and of course we just take the wrapper off. It's just like always aesthetically pleasing to watch you take the wrapper off. I don't know, I like it. So for this particular project, I'm not being really careful about how I remove the canvas. I'm going to cover the back anyways, so I don't care about leaving the staples in and it looking a little bit janky. If I were doing something where I needed it to look like a nice frame, I would pull those staples out. So finally I figured it would be much easier to just use my little razor knife and go through and just pull all of the canvas off. Be safe when you do this, kids. For the next step, I used some of the Craft Smart antique wax, which, oops, a little too much there. Let's get back in there. Yep, put it back. So I used some of the antique wax from Craft Smart, which is like the Michael's House brand. You could use the Waverly antique wax, any stain that you have. I just like using these like acrylic antique wax kind of things because they don't stink and they dry really fast. It's just a lot easier than getting out a stain and going through all that. And they make a lot of different like water-based stains now that are easy. But this one's only a couple of bucks and it's a nice color, so just go ahead and coat the front, the insides, and the sides. Again, I'm not worried about the back because I know that I'm going to cover it. And then I just wipe it down with a paper towel to kind of even out the coverage a little bit. Once I have finished staining it, I'm just going to go through with a little sanding block from the Dollar Tree and just very lightly hit the edges to give it just a little bit of a sort of a rustic look. I'm not trying to go crazy with it, but I just think it gives it a little bit more dimension to do this. But like I said, I'm just going on the corners. Any sandpaper will work for this. Now's the time if you wanted to go back in and fix anything that you didn't like with the paint job. I didn't like the coverage, so I kind of went in and adjusted it a little bit and then resanded it. Now for the next part, I just went through my scrapbooking paper stash and pulled out something that I liked. You can use any paper for this, wrapping paper, craft paper. You could even just flip the canvas over and paint the canvas itself. Anything is fine, but I just really liked this particular piece of scrapbook paper. So then I took my canvas bit and I used that as a template to trace out my paper. And then I'm just going to cut out my piece of paper because I'm going to place it behind my canvas. I do apologize for the camera here that you cannot see everything fully. I had some issues and I didn't realize that it wasn't in frame. And I'm just trimming up the piece of canvas because I'm using that to cover the back of the whole project. So I'm just going to trim that up a bit so it's a little cleaner. In retrospect, I should have trimmed the canvas first and then traced out the paper. But to clean up that mess, I just went in with my little razor knife and just cut off the excess that was sticking out past the frame. Be very careful when using those razor knives. You could Mod Podge this, but I didn't need to get into all of that. I just wanted to keep it simple, so I just used my hot glue gun and just went around the edges and the middle slightly, and then just stuck that sucker right onto the canvas. And then finally, I just took my hot glue gun and used it to glue the frame right onto the front of the paper. I'm using a Surebonder hot glue gun. It is a high temp glue gun and it is very, very hot, but I really like this glue gun. The main thing I love about this particular one is that the stand actually works. It actually stands up when you're not using it. And I am a very messy crafter, so please excuse my hands. I've got this little ornament that came from Dollar Tree or Dollar General. I'm so sorry, I can't remember which, but I know that it was $1 and I just really loved it. So I'm just taking that. I pulled the hanger off, which I'm actually going to repurpose the hanger and stick it to the back. Now, if I were doing this again, I would have stuck the hanger between the paper and the canvas, so that would be a little cleaner. Because right now it's just stuck on the back with a big blob of glue. But I was keeping this project, so I didn't mind that it was messy. When giving it away as a gift, I would definitely try to finish the back a little bit more. So I set some glue on there, and then I put a blob of glue on top of it as well, so it was kind of encased in glue. And then I glued my joy ornament to the front of the sign. And here you go. Super cheap, super easy, so quick, and isn't that so incredibly stinking cute? All right, everyone, I really hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for joining me. Keep coming back and keep crafting your best life. Bye.